Welcome to a new interview for Blossom Empowering Events. My name is Anna Molnar, and today I talk to Zeyda Broers from the House of Joy. Welcome, Zeyda.
Hi, Anna. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, you're welcome. We've met through the WBII, and more specifically, when we got in touch was one of the events where Stephanie was talking about videos, how that can work for your business, video as a marketing tool. And then we made this, we had this idea of having an interview together. So I'm very, very pleased about that. And what's also very nice is that we do similar things. We like to help entrepreneurs build their business with in a productive way, and also not to work too much. That's my impression. That's the thing that we have in common. So please tell us more about what you do, Zeyda.
Yes. So I work as a productivity and structure coach, and personal productivity, I have to call it, because productivity can mean in many different things in many different industries or ways. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs first to Marie Kondo their minds so that we can approach all the goals, all the things that really heartfelt things they want to achieve in their lives, and bring a structured way to achieve them without overwhelm or overwork. So that is what I'm standing for.
Yes, because it's so easy to get overworked, especially when you work for yourself. When you start to build your own company, there are so many things you have to think about, or maybe you don't have to think about them, but you do. So that's very good. And are you helping mainly women like I do, or is it a mix? Also men?
I have two different types of clientele, and one of them is really women entrepreneurs focused. And on the other side, I get to work mainly predominantly with men. So I work, and for me, both of them are the entrepreneurs because I'm hired in by the entrepreneur who has a team or the company on one side, and or the solo entrepreneurs, and that is mainly women. So with solo entrepreneurs, the focus is different because we are really looking into their life as in a holistic way, because we cannot just separate business on the side and have its own life. Our lives is whole, so we need to put all the elements together so that in the long term what we are trying to achieve is holistic. It's not one dimensional, or it is not one faceted. And what I do in companies is that I give trainings to teams, and the focus is on sustainable productivity. So again, there is the holistic base, but then instead of working with them on one-on-one, I start with giving the training as a team training, and then we focus on the time, energy, and attention management, which also includes emotions in it.
Wonderful. And is that then also the productivity of the team as a whole, or is it more productivity of the individual?
I believe that the productivity of the team can only work if each individual is working on their own productivity. Because most of the time in a team, the team is as strong as the weakest link.
Yes.
So we are working, the approach is that we cover the basics of what sustainable productivity means, and how can they apply it in their lives. And the framework allows each person to also look into their own weak points and strong points, where they can build up to a basis where the alignment, communication, or the way of thinking and planning is in the similar direction. So then from the individual productivity, we aim for the team productivity.
Very nice, very nice. And what do you how do you describe sustainable productivity? Because sustainable, now we think of eco things, but probably you mean something else.
Well, and for the eco things, I think we think in the same direction as well. How can we have this for in the long term, so that sustainability in the eco and the eco direction is also how can we live in a life that we can sustain this life on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the sustainable productivity it's not about, so I will just rewind back a little bit. So productivity, the word productivity comes actually from the factories, right? So from the companies, how can they produce most amount in the least time and with least investment?
Okay.
But then after the industrial revolution, in a way, the machines can work 24/7. So it is all about switching that, and the human factor comes next to it. And we had all these systems of, you know, the 8-hour shifts 3 times, people working in factories, keeping the machines always busy. But that is the old-fashioned of thinking of productivity, because now mostly we are knowledge workers, and as knowledge workers, we bring in the human factor. So we are not machines. We don't work as flat lines. We have these waves where we operate, which is body rhythms and everything. And therefore, to keep it sustainable, we need to bring in the human factors. And that is, you might have 24 hours in a day. And let's say that you have 8 hours to work. But if you don't have the energy to work on those 8 hours, if you don't have the motivation to start up something, or if you cannot keep your attention or emotions, in a way, contain them to where the direction it needs to go, you can keep yourself productive for an amount of time, but it will not be sustainable in the long term. Okay. So that is the sustainable productivity part. That is, how can we be productive, but at the same time, not with costs to our health, costs to our psyche, to our psychology. So how can we achieve the results we want, but still live a joyful, mindful, sustainable life?
Okay, I'm also interested in this 8-hour work day. Is that still true? The 8-hour work day?
I think the companies are still looking in that direction, but there are a lot of evolutions or revolutions are happening, like going to 6 hours work days. After all, it is not about the amount of hours that you are counted as working. I think it is the same for entrepreneurs or solo entrepreneurs. It is, you might be expected there to be 8 hours, but you cannot expect yourself to just flatline, create results in those 8 hours. So I think we should not continue looking into the hours that we have,
yes,
but more at, okay, what is the reality of the results that I can create in the time that I have? And those 8 hours, I think in office, a lot of times, nobody's working 8 straight hours. So then I work with solopreneurs where they have the corporate background, and at the beginning, they're expecting themselves to be 8 hours behind the desk or behind their computer.
Yes. Or even more.
Or even more, yeah, but at least that is the expectation from themselves, like, I should be able to do this. But that is not the focus. I think that shouldn't be the focus. It's not about the hours. It's about the energy you have, the attention you have, what else is happening in your life, and the results that you can create. So there should be more, I think, results-based thinking.
Results-based. Okay. And is it then that you focus on the results first, like what you want to create, and then do a reverse engineering about how to create that type of results? Is that how you work?
I mean, my background is in engineering, so I love the word reverse engineering.
Okay.
So I think it goes twofold. One is, yes, we need to reverse engineer from the results we want to create, but not in a very strict manner. So it goes at the beginning, I think we need some, especially because most of us didn't learn this at school or at work or, you know, in our families, how to plan, how to bring ourselves into the equation, the results-based thinking. So the old paradigm is shifting. But in the new way of thinking, I think it is, yes, the results I have in mind, I have some goals, how can I make that happen? But then also seeing it as a mirror. In a way, that is what I wanted to achieve, but in reality, that is what happened. So that I learned more about myself in the process. And then I make another goal, keeping in mind what I have learned about myself and about my life, you know? So what is reasonable? And what is distracting me? Or where is my energy going? Do I have any energy leaks, time leaks? You know, where's my attention diverted without my will or wish? And then proactively working on it. So it is not like one dimensional thinking. It is we set the goals, we learn about ourselves, we set the goal, second round we learn, and then life is also changing, right? It's not the same. It has its seasons, it has its times, it has its, you know, with different ages we also have different responsibilities or different energy levels. So it is that playing that small ping pong with ourselves, but with the awareness. I think the key word here is awareness.
Mm-hmm. I really like that image of the mirror. I've never thought about that. Goals can also be like mirrors to us. That if we don't achieve them, because many people don't like to set goals because they're afraid that they won't achieve them. But if you look at this not achieving as just facing reality, seeing things in the mirror, learning about yourself, that makes the whole process completely different, huh?
Yeah. So I think a lot of times, because I use the word personal productivity, it is like a repeller, you know, like I don't want to become more productive. I don't want to get more done.
Yes.
But it's not about that.
No, it's not about working more. No, it's about understanding more about yourself and growing like that.
So
Very
getting
nice.
smarter in a way.
Mm-hmm. And also what you say about the seasons, this seasonal thing, I totally agree with you, because I think we are so conditioned by school and then a job that things are almost flat, like there's hardly any difference. Maybe before in December there's like something big going on, or another month depending on the industry, but mainly everything is kind of always the same. But that's not the case at all in nature. So when we create our own business, the beauty is that you can create it around your own rhythm, the rhythm of the seasons. Also, yes, holiday in summer, we should have some holiday as well. We don't have to continue to work all the time. I like that idea a lot. Really nice. Yeah.
I think you also realize, right, like when there is more amount of sunlight. So when we enter into summer,
Mm-hmm.
the body is reacting differently than if it is the darkest months of the winter, you know, or just feels like, okay, most of the time I think it's around February that we have really bitten through that winter,
Mm-hmm.
and the light is still not there.
Yes.
We have this dip.
Uh-huh.
It is just all in nature, but the way I think work was formed after the Industrial Revolution was to keep the machines busy and to just 7/24 create results, which I think bringing the human factor in, as you agree, that's
No,
not sustainable. Yeah.
no, it's not. And so if you look at the future, what do you think how we will work as solopreneurs? I will ask now specifically as a solopreneur, how we will be doing things differently.
Well, the reason I became a solopreneur or an entrepreneur in the first place, because I have the ambition to also bring in more people in the future. But for me, it was the freedom. And I hear it also back often from the clients I work with or other, let's say, entrepreneur colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom is in the first place, and the freedom to make the decisions to where we invest our time, where we invest our energy, or where we invest our life. So I think that will stay. Like and more we will tap into that. And I also think that COVID was in certain ways a blessing in disguise, because it really changed a lot of things for all of us. But it also gave us, the entrepreneurs, I think, a lot of tools to tap into that freedom. You know, us being here on Zoom became a normality, right? Like, so now we can work with anyone at different time zones, and we can have more flexibility about when we plan our time and everything. And I think the future is more in, yeah, tapping into that freedom and really making a unique framework that works uniquely for you, because you have the freedom to do that. So why not? Why not to make the best of it?
Yes, that's the whole point of deciding for yourself. You don't have to do the regime that yeah, you were brought up with. You can adjust it to your own desires and needs. Of course, also thinking of your clients, how to help them as well. It has to be going back and forth, that it works.
That's the main part of having a business, right? Without helping the others, without solving problems,
Yeah,
the business doesn't exist. So that's in the first place. Yeah.
yes, that's always a challenge, because also yeah, you have your passion, you have your skills and everything, but it has to also match the market, what other people need and want.
And starting
Wonderful.
there, I think there's always, if we start from there, from that point, it's easy to bring in also the passion you have, because it's really directed to something specific and certain that you can really solve. Because that's what I also see a lot of times, that we can be so much full with ideas and different directions we can go and all these different talents. And so how do I contain it and focus it to somewhere like the light beam, then it can make a result, you know? Yeah. And that is maybe something that I want to mention, the difference that I see with like working with men and working with women.
Yes.
Is maybe it is not only about the gender roles, but it is more, the way I like to think about it is the energy, right? The feminine energy and the masculine energy.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, the yin and the yang, we are familiar with it. So they come with different energy tones. And so like there's the structure, there's the flow, there's the facts, there are the emotions, you know, there's the push, there is the pull. So there are different ways we describe the masculine and the feminine energy in a way.
Uh-huh.
So, and in corporate world, in the business world, I think we can say predominantly it is male energy driven. So there are more goals, numbers, planning, and maybe there's more push.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, like as a woman being in a predominantly feminine energy, I see that if one experiences the harshness of that corporate world and then maybe changing careers with or without a burnout.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a classic, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it can be both ways, because like sometimes the change is made before it goes so far, and sometimes the change comes after that forced transitioning, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And I see sometimes meet my clients in a place where they are really cocooning in their female energy. You know, like as if they have sworn to God that they never want to do anything with the corporate world again.
Uh-huh.
So they look away from everything that reminds them the corporate world, all the male energy things. But that is kind of throwing the baby with the bath water, as they say it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because we need, for the balance, we need both. We need the yin and the yang. So the corporate world is predominantly male. That is also not very healthy, or, you know, it's not balanced. And more, it is also invited, it's accepted, it's brought in the feminine energy.
Yes.
So they are working on it.
Uh-huh.
I think as solopreneurs, as women working on our own businesses, predominantly being in the feminine energy maybe is not the best for the business, but also in the whole, the way we direct life. So like we need the balance. So just bringing in maybe enough, the male energy, as we call it, the yang energy, you know, and that is, so just bring in some planning. It might remind you of the corporate world, but why not apply the best parts of it to your personal life in a way that works for you? You know, setting some goals, but again, with this feminine side to it, like it's a mirror. We will learn from this. You know, like hit or miss, but there are good things that it brings to me. And I think the probably that is the difference between working with female and male clients for me, or the predominantly the male energy and female energy. With my solopreneur clients, I am the one mostly bringing the male energy in, helping them to create that balance. And in the corporate world, I'm appreciated for my female energy, because I tell about all these things, but not in a corporate way, bringing the softness to it, bringing the understanding to it, the human side of it.
The kindness.
Yeah.
Yes, very nice. Yes, I see that also in women, because I think productivity is one thing, but also money. Talking about money, asking for money, that's a tough thing for women to do. That's probably because it's associated with male energy, with the pushing and being aggressive, that typical salesperson that you don't like because someone is trying to sell you something that you don't want. But the thing is, when you sell your services and you're talking to someone who needs help, then that person probably does want your help. So it's being of service to sell your product, to sell your service.
Yeah, definitely. And so also an exchange of energies, right?
Yes, also. It's also an act of respect. Yeah, so but I totally understand that this male female energy, that can be so different. And I think also when it comes to achieving goals, women can be very harsh on themselves, and that doesn't necessarily help. if I think it's better to be a bit compassionate with yourself, like, okay, now it didn't work out the way I wanted, but just like someone who likes you, to be nice to yourself, and from there build on the next step. And it doesn't have to be harsh. It can be exactly what you say. It's a feedback moment to look at what's going on, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect right away, and maybe it's even not even you don't really want it to be perfect, because that would be even a bit boring. If it would be
And
yes.
also, I think that is the dilemma in a way I see, is that they want to have business. Like my woman clients, they want the business. They want to have a business, but they don't want it to become a business. And then there is this duality, you know, like, in a way, 2 steps in, 1 step back. And that can be really brought 1 step up if we bring in that thinking, okay, there are things I'm strong at, because that's my feminine side. You know, there are things that is not in the business world as the world I know it, and therefore I stepped out of it. Those are my strengths, and I bring them to the world. I help my clients with it, you know, I give service. So that is the part. But at the same time, I shouldn't be afraid of making it a business. And there are some different maybe balances in there, and there are different energies in there, but bit by bit welcoming them in, so that there is a business which is like a business, but it is you in your own unique way.
Yes, exactly.
It resemble the corporate.
Yeah, there is not just one way to have a business. There are many ways to have a business, and that's exactly the beauty of building your own. You get to try out things and then just find out what works for you. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be the classical way. It can be totally different. Yeah.
We are more and more seeing that, right? Like with the online businesses, with the possibility this of the world being our oyster,
Hmm.
there are many ways that people succeed. So there is place for your way to succeed as well.
Yes, yes, it's easier to find contacts over the world. It's not just your own little village where you can try things out. That's absolutely true. Yeah, very nice. Okay, Zeyda, how can people reach out to you? How can they work with you?
Um, I can, as a first step, I think I can mention about my Instagram account, the School of Joy. That is the handle that you can where you can find me, and the School of Joy.nl is my website. I also have the productivitygenius.com, that is for the corporate trainings. And in September, I am having this new program coming.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
And
Yeah.
that is about creating a mindful routine. So bringing all these elements in,
Hmm.
all our roles and responsibilities, just the holistic of life. And how can we make a framework so well taught beforehand that has space, time, and energy for all the things that we need to bring in and we want to bring in. And having that framework, okay, life is flexible. You may know that things happen differently, but at least the framework gives you a game field and then you can play in it. So that's what I will start in September, and I have wait list open for now. So, and you can reach me, I think DMing me on Instagram is the easiest way, the School of Joy.
Nice. Very nice project. I'm sure people will already sign up now.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you, Zeyda, for today. Yeah, we could have talked for much longer, but yes, we we have to close our talk today, and I hope to speak to you soon, maybe on another platform, maybe on Instagram. I don't know.
Yes.
Yes, that would be lovely too. Thank you so much for today, and also you who's watching. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Thank
Well,
you.
I would like to thank you also, Anna, for this opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The way we were talking already in our pre-talk, in our pre-Zoom talk, I know that we can speak for hours together. We have
Yes,
such
I know.
an aligned way of thinking. So I would love to also dig into it deeper together another time.
Yes, let's do that. Yes, wonderful. It's always nice to have something that you do something and then something else comes from that, and then something else comes from that. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Zayda. Bye.
Bye bye.